'cause I know that it's something real. Gonna say how I feel, 'cause I know that it's something real. Hey, hey. Gonna say how I feel, 'cause I know that it's something real.
Not you, not her, not him or them gon' stop me from getting mine now. Not you, not her, not him or them gon' silence my rising inner child. And every time I look up in the sky, I know it'll be alright. Yeah. Every time I look up in the sky, I know it'll be alright. Yeah, gotta get mine.
Well, hi everybody. I'm back with sound. So last night when Nathan asked me if my headphones were muted and I confidently said, no, I checked that. Yeah, right, they were muted. It's crazy little earpods things, or they're not, the microphone from Apple, if you press the center of it, it mutes it. Ugh. Just another complexity I didn't think through. There goes the heat. How is everybody tonight? My hands are cold. Brr. It's upstairs is very warm. Bob's had it chugging away on the heat today with the fire going, and it's been a beautiful night. But I had the window shade open in my studio down here because we've had sun, and I refuse to block out any sun in the Northwest in the winter. Not going to happen. I have to have it up there. So let's see all who's here. Deirdre's here. Yay. Good to see you. Gloria's here. Yes. Janice. Hi, Janice. And I heard Angie's on her way. Gail's here. Hi, Gail. Nice to have you here. Good. Yes. So the prizes that people. Hi, Angie. So the pictures in the books are, I thought I would get them off today, but today's Sunday. They're all wrapped up, sitting there. Got the pirate ship already done on them and printed out. And so on my way to physical therapy tomorrow, or on my way back, probably, I will drop them off at our local shipping place called Goin' Postal to get them sent off to you guys. So that'll be good. Yay! So everybody's having a good time and everything. So it was a gorgeous day today. Just watching the Olympics. Oh gosh, poor Michaela. She skied out of the GS. Oh, how frustrating that must be. But she still has several more events to go. She's still got the downhill. She's going to compete in. She's going to compete in slalom, probably in the Super G, and in the team event, I believe. So, yeah. Oh, well, I'm excited to watch her race downhill. But that's just me. So where's my pencil sharpener? Oh, there it is. So tonight we are going to read a book that is actually, I thought before I'd gotten one that had been like the first book I'd ever gotten that was signed by somebody, but I had forgotten about this book. And this book I actually got signed before I was a teacher. I was doing a student teaching summer experience, I think. So this was before I got my teaching certificate. I was still in college. So my journey to becoming a teacher was I started out in college right after I graduated from high school. I came to the UW, met Bob like my third week of school. As my dad said, I majored in fraternities. Didn't do so well in school because my parents had been fairly strict growing up, and I got to college and went, woohoo! And I had never had to study a day, really, in junior high or high school or anything to get straight A's. It was just, I was one of those lucky kids who could do that. So when they told me, in junior high, they tell you, oh, high school is going to be really hard. You're going to have to really study. And you go, okay, okay, okay. And you get to high school and it's like, what? And then high school, oh, college is going to get to be. And I thought, okay, in elementary, they told me junior high was going to be hard and it wasn't. And then, so I didn't quite grasp it and didn't quite. As a result, I nearly flunked out and ended up dropping out of college with 90 credits in at a very low grade point. Ugh. When I decided to go back to college to become a teacher, it was after Bob and I had married. And in order to get into the College of Education, I had to get 4 quarters straight of 4.0 in order to bring my grade point up enough to get into the College of Ed. And at the time, you only had to have a 2.5 to get into the College of Ed. So you can imagine how low my grade point was but when you have 90 credits and you have to, everything else just, oh gosh, it was bad. Anyway, I got into college finally. Got into College of Ed and did that and did quite well. But when I was doing my practicum, I think it was, there was a summer and I did some student teaching at this place, and this particular author was there, and I got a book signed by him. So, what's secret? See, she's teasing. Okay, I'm going to go back and see what's going on because there's some conversation. What's going on? Deidre's here. Trudy, Angie, good to see new pickup. Oh, you had a new picture? I kind of, I bet I'm going to have to go back and watch. It always happens to me on Sunday evening. I get lost in other stuff and you escaped your captors. I use Going Postal. Do you? Yeah, ours is a little tiny one here in Key Center. I don't know, it must be a franchise. He's pretty funny. Yep. We've got Julie E., me, Angie, Gloria, Deirdre, Gail, and Janice. Yahoo, the crew. Yes, Julie, what's going on? Too poop to pop, as my daddy used to say, Angie. Too poop to pop. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. That's what we're too poop to pop. Everybody's, can I announce our secret to everybody? Oh, I wonder what that is. And he said a doctor's appointment will try to pop in at the end. Okay, Nathan's there. And there is Helen. Hi. She made it. Good. What's a beautiful day in the Northwest. Okay, go for it. Yay. Okay, Angie, tell. Tell. No, tell. I'm going to stop. That give you time to type it out? Hi, Monica. Glad you're here. That was a really cool post you did today. Hey, you guys, just so you know, my friend Monica has a book out called Finding God at the Garage Sale. Is that the correct name of it? Anyway, it's all about her encounters with the different type of things, experiences when she goes, she's a garage sale queen, and different type of encounters and stories that she's had, and the blessings of different, what her own mediumship has brought into those things. And so it's a cool book. Monica, put the title in the chat. I think she has it on Amazon, but she'll tell you guys in there. So Monica's here. Got ourselves a party. Party. Okay, so a collaboration in the near future, perhaps? Party time? Julie E. and I are going to have a Mardi Gras collaboration. Oh, perfect. That would be awesome. That will be great. Oh, so fun. So fun. February 28th. Woohoo! That will be awesome. Finding God at a garage sale. Thanks for mentioning, Gretchen. Yes, yes. That Tuesday coming up. Okay. So that's my date, my love, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time for you. Then I'll be after. Okay, cool. So you guys, I'm going to ask you one more time. Do you guys have a piece of paper handy tonight? Like, or from your sketchbooks or anything like that? If you do, I would like you to, let's see if I can find the right camera. There we go. So I've got mine. Oh, I had to do some stuff with my camera to get it closer for this book because it's smaller. I'm just taking my paper and I'm dividing it in 4 pieces so that it's got smaller squares, because this is kind of a smaller square activity. And using a pencil, not anything else, I just would like you to draw maybe 3 mountains, however you want them to be. Okay, in 1 square. And then in the next square, maybe make 3 more mountains, but add something to them. No color, just pencil, just add something to the scene. I don't know. Maybe write to what you're doing. You know I'm going to ask you to take pictures of these and send them to me so that I can put them in tomorrow's show. And then in another one, draw 3 more mountains. See what you've added in before, put that in, and add something else. And then in the 4th square, make 3 more mountains. Put all the things back in there that you've done. Maybe add one more little bit of thing that you might like to have. But that last section is going to be, you're going to complete it after you've heard the story and after you've seen these illustrations and see what kind of inspiration it gives you. So this is what mine looks like. Mine looks like that one for the first one, this one for the second one. That's my 3rd set of mountains right there. And here I added a little bit more. Okay, that's that. So let me tell you about this book. Like I said, I love this book. So it was back in 1982. I didn't get my teaching certificate until spring of 83, I think it was. Yes. And no, maybe it was 82, and then I substituted 82, 83, and then I got a job in 83. Yes. Fall of 83. Yes, that's right. So I was at a summer school program, and they had this author come, and he's a Northwest author. His name is Jasper Tompins, and I absolutely love the book. And it literally is probably the first kids book I have signed. Is either that one or Alligator Shoes from Arthur Doris, but the two of them were there together that summer. So I can never remember quite who I sat down with or got the book from first. And I remember one time when I ran into them at a book signing at the Secret Garden, and we went out to lunch for the three of us, and they had this argument over who got the first one book with me, and I was laughing my head off. But uh, Jasper's books, he's done several, like, and I like them a lot. So, like, here's my stack of Jasper's books. Some of them, yes, I have his books. But the catalog just always, this first one's called The Catalog, always really held a special place into her. One of the interesting things about the books is that they went out of print for a long time. And I don't know if there's some of them still are, but they were published on Green Tiger Press. And then Green Tiger Press, I think, was purchased by a larger publishing company, and that publishing company held the rights to Jasper's books for a long time. So I think it was like 20 years or more, uh, maybe 25. So when that happened, the rights to publish them and to reprint and do everything went to the big publishing company. And so Jasper's books, some of them were not, you could never find him for a long time. You didn't find him in the store. I would run into him and he goes, yeah, I can't even get him because the publishing company held the rights to those books, to the republishing. Well, the publishing company let that right lapse after so many years. It's a finite time, and it lapsed. And so Jasper grabbed it back up again and took it, and so has been able to keep the rights to all his books now. And let's see if I'm looking to see if some of these other ones. Yes, then he had, because then he was publishing with Sasquatch Books. So anyway, I'm going to show you a little bit more about it. His website is a little bit old. He's moved from Seattle to Vermont, I understand. So who is this guy? Is the author and illustrator of 11 books, with many more waiting in the wings. Among them, The Catalog, winning International Children's Book Award, the Pacific Northwest Booksellers Award, and the National Children's Choice Award. Whoa, that was Catalog. That book came out in 1981. NIMBY received the Washington State Children's Choice Award, and The Hole in the Ocean, the National Parents' Choice Award. And for his The Sky Jumps Into Your Shoes at Night, he received the National Children's Choice Award. He grew up in the Pacific Northwest. His summers were spent whisked away into the wilds of nature to experience mountains, rivers, and lakes, and forests, and bears, and porcupines, and snakes. And then oceans, islands, whales, rocks, sand, ants, and eagles. Every September, it was time to go back to school, where Jasper was a quiet student, usually hiding in the back of the room, working on secret science projects he had hidden in his desk. In second grade, his teacher gave him 2 desks because he had had so many projects. I like his teacher. If you peeked over his shoulder, you might have found him making funny drawings that he wouldn't show to anyone. He thought they were terrible, and he wished he could draw like his mother. He studied both science and art, graduating with a BFA in graphic design and illustration from the University of Washington. Yay, go Huskies! He left Seattle to work as an illustrator for a large publishing house in New York City. He learned about making books, but he was missing nature, and even though he was surrounded by skyscrapers. In 1981, his first book was published, The Catalog, about 3 mountains. Well, I'm not going to tell you that. Within weeks, the book was awarded the International Children's Book Fair in Bologna, Italy, and went on to win further awards in the United States. He created more award-winning books. He's currently absorbing the wonders of the unique, extraordinary environment while completing the construction of a beautiful studio and making more books than his. But then I read recently some new news that he'd moved to Vermont. Anyway, Camelback Dogs is the name. The names of his books are just fun. And as you can see, colorful is part of what he does. So the front and the back of the books, they're all catwalk. I think I saw it in hardback, but most of them, this is the original catalog, and then there's a reprint. As he says, try to find it. The catalog was Jasper's first book. It was published in 1981 to great acclaim. It was immediately awarded all those awards. And he goes on and says, he says, it has been difficult to find in recent years, but recently revived Green Tiger Press brought out a new special edition in 2003 with blue borders in celebration. He said, available at wonderful bookstores everywhere and online, and other locations you can find with a bit of searching. Other books he talks about digging around, and when they're out of print. I think he had older books. Click here to see his previous ones. Like they're all now currently out of print except for NIMBY, but a little effort, copies can still be found lurking in bookstores and on the internet. So, yeah, they're wonderful, wonderful books. When a Bear Bakes a Cake and the Mountains Crack Up. So wonderful. I just love his things. So, boom. Oh, so.
Not you, not her, not him or them gonna stop me from.
I muted myself there. So the opening video that I made for this has the three mountains, which are going to be integral to this story. And it has some giraffe and some other animals. It's all part of the story. Anyway, it's going to be fun. So let me see if I can get this. It's not a very big book. You see that? It's a little guy. It's like, where's my measuring thingy? 6 inches by 6 by 7. And most of his books are all like that. Like My Cousin Has 8 Legs is larger. NIMBY is a little larger. The Sky Jumps Into Your Shoes at Night is a little larger. Hole in the Ocean is a little larger. Mountains Crack Up is the same size. My Secret Sunrise, there's the snakes. Oops, the snake. When a Bear Bakes a Cake, and Bear Sleep Soup. Really, 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 really fun books. The catalog. So it's not a giant big book for us tonight. Maybe we'll have time for the Mountains Crack Up too. But it's fun, and his illustrations are so amazing. And just the reason, and you'll see the reason I wanted you to just use pencil and then go afterwards, go from there. The catalog, and it says, to Gretchen Shepherd from Jasper Tompins, and he drew on the front in July 1982. All the little things he drew in signing the books. All the books I have signed by him all have stuff like that on it. The catalog. Okay. I want to make sure you can hear me. There. Get that behind me. Let's see. Check up. Drinking beads all around. All right. Yay, yay. She's next to her printer so she could grab a piece of paper. Oh, I love it. I never have paper. Going to be prepared. An envelope works. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have. I mean, goodness gracious. I used to sometimes write notes home for kids that were really forgetful on their hand. Couldn't find. Can somebody repeat the instructions, Jeff? So all you had to do was do 4 squares, and the first one was just draw 3 mountains. And in the second one, draw 3 mountains again and add something in the picture. Add one thing. And the third one was to draw 3 mountains add this next element that you had in the second picture to the third one, and then add a new element. And then in the fourth one, the 3 mountains and the other element and one more element, but leave enough space because that one's the one you're going to do something with after the story. Okay. If you use pen, that's fine. You don't have to redo it. You can do it in pen. Pen is fine. Purple color pencil, good job. It's mountain, mountain, mountain. Hi, Donna M. Nice to have you here. So I'll show you everybody once again what mine look like. Oops, I did. There's my mountains. I did, and then my 3 mountains, and I added an element, clouds. This one, my 3 mountains, and I added the element I had there, here, and then a kind of river thing. Same thing, 3 mountains, the element, and then I added a tree and a little bit of stuff. Okay, now we can go for the catalog. Whoa. Okay, aloha. Yay! All right. If you have paper, you can do that. Yes, I should warn you guys. I'm in this mood to have everybody drawing on things if I can find things. And Jasper does that mood because it's simple and I can do simple drawings. The Catalog by Jasper Tompins, written and illustrated by Jasper. Yeah. Once there were 3 bear mountains who had sat quietly every day under the sun. And every night under the moon. Until one day each of them received a catalog in his mailbox. Look at the mail truck. And each mailbox has their own picture on it. The first mountain came to the giraffes on page 27 and thought that they looked just wonderful. He ordered 43 of them. The second mountain looked at page after page and just couldn't decide until he saw the turtles. They looked absolutely marvelous. He immediately ordered 61. The third mountain opened his catalog right to the middle. There were the bears. He looked no further. 52 bears would be perfect. Early the next morning, the first mountain suddenly opened one eye. He had been sound asleep when he began to feel tiny little feet on his head. He looked up and smiled because he was covered with giraffes. They all stood quietly, not making a sound. The second mountain had just realized that he was covered with turtles. He could feel their tummies dragging slowly across his head. And the third mountain woke up with warm little balls of fur all over his head. The bears were happily dancing and rolling about. All day, the mountains enjoyed their new animals, and the animals enjoyed their mountains. Look at the details on those guys. Aren't they just darling? Later, they all got hungry, but there was no food. They were cold too, but there was no place to go to keep warm. So the animals curled up together in a cozy pile. Everyone was hungry and uncomfortable. The giraffes wished there was a light because they like to read at night. When all was quiet, the mountains had a meeting. They felt terrible. They had only thought of how much fun the animals would be. They had never even considered whether the animals would like their new home or not. "We must do everything we can so they won't leave us," said the first mountain. "No, we must do it because it is our responsibility," said the second. "We will be good to them because we love them," said the third mountain. And so they got out their catalogs. The next day, there was a shiny new refrigerator on top of each mountain. Inside, everyone found his favorite food. After breakfast, a hearty breakfast, the animals felt so good, they did tricks for the mountains until lunchtime. Uh-oh. Old book, the glue finally gave out. Yikes. Fortunately, I'm a librarian and know how to fix those. In the afternoon, there were more surprises. There was a box of flashlights for the giraffes. And there was a deck of cards for the turtles. Oh, decks of cards for the turtles. You know, turtles like to play cards. For the bears, there was a record player with a stack of their favorite dancing records. The gramophone. Love it. There's a giraffe looking over. Look at the clouds, kind of look like they're flying things. When darkness came, it was cold again, but the mountains had a plan. They leaned their heads together to make a warm shelter for the animals. It was very uncomfortable, but they were glad to do anything to help. One little bear who couldn't sleep came out to yawn at the moon. He saw the big frowns on the mountains' faces, sleeping faces. "Our dear mountains shouldn't suffer to keep us warm," he said to himself. Then he went to find the catalogs. He knew just what to order. The next afternoon, 3 huge packages arrived. There was one for each mountain. The little bear smiled to himself and could hardly wait for the sun to set. That night, when the cold crept up, the mountains put on They're brand new hats. And even when winter came, everyone was happy. And that's the catalog. Well, yeah, see, his books are glued, so the glue gave out on that old glue, but I can fix that. Isn't that a cool book? So the idea that I had was that you did those 4 little patches. You could do your own little kind of short little bit of adding on in the last part. You could add to it. If you want to add on to the other ones, you can. But that's great. Angie says she's excited about. Angie, like I said, directions are guides. You know, they're just guides. It's how we use them that makes it all so much fun. It doesn't have to be absolutes. Because, you know, it's when we think outside the box and do things differently that things are new. We get taken in new directions. So I love that. Your YouTube emojis, chat emojis changed? Wow. Oh, yeah, Jasper's signature. It is a beautiful signature. He signs his books like that all the time. I think in the mountains crack up for the shepherd. Yeah. All right. So while you guys don't worry about pencils, pen, whatever. So I'm going to read The Mountains Crack Up real quick because it's the next one. Well, you guys can sketch and draw and listen on your little papers, and then we'll see. And then at the end, take pictures of the page and send them off to me on my email, and then I can bring them in tomorrow night. There we go. The Mountains Crack Up. So this is the sequel. Once there lived 3 mountains. Oh my goodness. Things have been busy on the mountains. Who ordered their favorite animals from a catalog. Of course, the animals had to eat, so they ordered refrigerators full of food. And just for fun, the mountains ordered flashlights for the giraffes, decks of cards for the turtles, and a record player for the bears. The nights were getting colder and colder, and the animals needed a warm place to sleep. Finally, one little bear secretly ordered 3 big hats for the mountains. And from then on, they all slept safe and cozy every night. One cold morning, the animals woke up to find little white things falling from the sky. Maybe they're messages, said a giraffe. Maybe they're dangerous, said a turtle. No, I think they're pieces of white bread, said a hungry bear as he caught one with his paw. When the ground was completely white, 3 bears took a test walk. They liked the sound of their crunchy footsteps and the feeling of the snow between their toes. After a short distance, they turned around and laughed when they saw their big footprints. Then they yelled for the others to come and join the fun. What a wonderful winter it was. The giraffes liked to pretend that they were sharks. The turtles played on their built-in sleds. And the bears fell over backwards and made bear angels. The mountains were thrilled to see all of this activity. The hats kept the snow off their eyes. When the wild blizzards came, the animals crawled under the turtle's hat because it felt safe to all be in the middle. Of course, they all played cards until the storm was over. You can see how. Look at that. You have to get really in there to see the mountains. It's a great blizzard. As winter passed and the sun rose higher and higher, the snow began to melt. It dripped and dripped until finally one grand spring day it was time to take off the hats. The last instructions was just to add on things and make your own illustration while I was reading this if you want to. I'll go over it again. And it was time to take off the hats. It was quite a day of work. When the hats were safely back in their boxes, the animals all took a nap in the warm sun, and the mountains felt the wind again and listened to the birds. One little bear who was very hungry quietly tiptoed to the refrigerator for a snack. While he was eating, he noticed that the 3 mailboxes were just reappearing from under the melting snow. He ran down to see if there might be any mail. To his surprise, there was only one envelope from the whole winter. The little bear opened it up and cried out with astonishment. It was a bill for everything that they had ordered from the catalog, and he ran back to tell the others. That night, they had a big meeting. Everyone was concerned. There were many ideas about how to pay the bill. Finally, one mountain suggested that they ask their grandfather mountains for advice. They all agreed that that was the best thing to do. Got to go ask the grandfather mountains. The next morning, 5 of the bears had an early breakfast. When their tummies were full, they went down to the mailboxes to wait for the mail trucks. When the mail truck pulled in to stop, the driver told the bears that they had to sit in the back, hold their stamps, and be quiet like the rest of the packages. It was a long, bumpy journey. But finally, just before sunset, they stopped at the Grandfather Mountain's mailboxes. Okay, Grandfather Mountains. Look at Grandfather Mountains. Aren't they hilarious? The bears walked up the path, and when they stopped and stared in amazement, there were the Grandfather Mountains. The bears did not know what to say. "Good evening," boomed the mountains. "Hello," said the bears, and then they began to tell the story of the bill. When the bears were finished, the mountains began to laugh. "You are all such treasures. How can you be in debt?" The bears were puzzled, but could not help laughing. Then the Grandfather Mountain smiled at the bears. "It is important that you rest. We will be thinking while you sleep." And the bears were quite relieved and curled up in a cozy cave. In the middle of the night, they heard the mountains whispering about hats. The bears smiled and went back to sleep. In the morning, the mountains had a curious answer for the bears. All that they would say was, "Go now and be happy. Your laughter will pay the bill." That was all? The puzzled bears ran down to the mailbox just in time, and as they piled into the mail truck, they could still hear the laughter echoing in the distance. As soon as the bears were home, they gathered everyone together and told the story of their journey. But when they finished, there were no smiles. There was no laughter, and the mountains and the animals did not see how just being happy would pay the bill. The 5 bears knew that this would never do. They would have to do something quickly. Suddenly, one little bear ran up and whispered something to one of the mountains, and the mountain smiled, and then he chuckled, and then he began to laugh harder and harder. Soon all 3 mountains were laughing, and they began to shake with laughter. It was an earthquake of laughter. The rocks were rolling down, and the animals were bouncing every which way, but they were all laughing so hard themselves that they were not even frightened. It seemed that the wonderful laughter would never end. But finally, everyone simply had to stop and catch his breath. In the quiet moment that followed, one little bear said he felt like he was glowing. "So do we," exclaimed the mountains. And they were. See the glowing? "You are glowing," shouted the animals, and they all stared in amazement. Shaking laughter had uncovered bright, shining crystals all over the mountains. They were flashing in the sunset light. The animals ran to pick them up. Now the 5 bears knew just what the grandfather mountains had meant. They ran to find a box, and what a time the animals had filling it up. When they were finished, they stared into the box with fascination. "It's a box of light!" exclaimed one of the giraffes. The next morning, the special box was sent to the catalog company. Hold it. Too big. There we go. Of course, everyone wanted to know what the little bear had said that was so funny. But he would only giggle, and the mountains just smiled and said they felt much lighter than ever before. Several days later, a letter came from the catalog. The company was thrilled with what was in the box. The bill had been much more than paid for off. In fact, there was now a large credit available. They all cheered. The 5 bears immediately sent a mysterious rush order back to the catalog. What wonderful days these had been. That night, the animals lay out under the stars and saw themselves in the universe. When sleep finally came, they all had dreams of what they would order next from the catalog. And later, while they slept, there was a rumble of laughter in the distance. For at that very moment, the grandfather mountains were putting on their brand new hats. And that's the story of the mountains crack up. So I love them. It's just one of those fun kind of things to be able to do. And in the illustrations that I asked you to do, it's just a matter of adding things in and the simplicity of them and how the story kind of builds. So you can add anything you want. I want to see here. Where'd my... Oops. I just had it. Well, fiddle-dee-dee. There it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, well, this is fun. Look at this. There's Donna's. She just sent hers. I'll move myself out of the way. Mountains and things you add, just the simple little things. And then what you can do with those beyond that is add on to the story. And this is a lot how, a lot like how an illustrator might do a children's book that they had the theme for. They'll take a central theme like the mountains, and then they'll add a little bit to it, and they'll add a little bit, and they'll add a little bit, and they'll see how it goes. So we've got one in. Thank you. I'll have the rest. I'll put them up tomorrow night. That'll be fun. That will be fun. They are sweet. They are really, really, I just felt we really needed a sweet, wonderful kind of book. and Jasper's books are just that way, and they're just fun. All of his books. I mean, and they're the colors. Yes, these are black and white, and the covers have color on them. But his other books, like my cousin has 8 legs. Let me show you. I switched. So nope. Here we go. I mean, these are very brightly colored. In the illustrations, you can see and how much fun he has with them. Cousin has 8 legs, goes to school. Bear sleep soup. You know, the similar kind of bears. And this is this about the soup that they make before going into hibernation. When a bear bakes a cake, these are all brightly illustrated. His use of color is absolutely phenomenal. It's really cool. My Secret Sunrise. This is very soft and gentle, like a sunrise. You know, our Northwest sunrises can sometimes be pretty quiet in a lot of, if there's mist and whatnot. But he adds to them. You can tell definitely Northwest flavor to that. Hole in the Ocean. Again, that has bright colors. Look at that. It just the free sense of his drawings and his sketching. I thought that was something that we all that when the looser you can get and whatnot and stuff like this is the sky jumps into your shoes at night, and it's kind of forms that he makes that you don't really quite know what they are and or what they're supposed to be. It says the sky jumps into your shoes when you take them off at night. All those things. And then NIMBY, an extraordinary cloud who meets a remarkable friend. And NIMBY has additional edges around that. I think it's kind of fun when you take a piece of paper, split it up, and then you constrain to some degree within by making a frame within that frame. I was doing that earlier upstairs before I did, when I was practicing this, I was trying the same type of little thing by doing a frame within a frame, and I didn't do it with the mountains yet, but I did it with these mountains down here. And so you give yourself that restriction, but it also frames it up so you can add and take in. And this was the view from the chair that I was sitting in when I looked out, and I could see across to Johnson Point, and this is my neighbor's house in front, and then there's Harstein Island across here, and then there's the southern end of the Olympics. And so just little sketches, things that I don't very often do, but I'm finding more comfort to doing that when I'm doing this and with reading to you guys and feeling more open about sketching and trying stuff, because if I'm going to ask you guys to do it, I might as well try it myself. Right. Oh, email address is images by Gretchen. I'll try it again. at iCloud.com. There you go. There you go, Monica. So send that. Yeah. So, have you drawn that house since you were a kid? I love it. Oh, that would be a perfect thing. Could you imagine just filling a bunch of those frames like that with things that you've drawn since you were a kid? And then what could you do with that? what could that picture become? What could how could they all go together and make things? Because as Jasper said in his website, that his with snakes and mountains and bears and porcupines and all the kinds of things, and you see those things in his stories, and they come up in the turtles, and that the drawings are so kind of fanciful in their and whimsical in their imperfection. I love it. Look at that. I mean, the turtle right here. Look at the turtles. I always think it's fun to. I mean, you know me. I put smiles on letters and the things. The bear here. So, yeah, Jasper's been a big influence on my love of children's literature and on collecting more and all of that kind of stuff. So, anyway, so if you would, if you feel so inclined, don't feel like you have to, just complete those 4 pictures, whether you do something in each one or you just build on it and do something in the last one and something however you want to interpret that. But add to it in as simple a line as you can, and see what kind of story just with just simple line and shaping it out can get for you. What kind of drawing can you have? What kind of whimsy can you create for yourself? It's a little whimsy day. A little whimsy. Yeah, I put my hair up. That's whimsical. Probably because down it would scare, frighten small children. Oh, cool. Angie just sent hers too. Okay, let's see if I can find. Oh my gosh. Oh, hello. This is cool. This is like real time stuff. Okay, going for the iPad here. This is, I believe, Angie's. I'm pretty sure. Look at that. Look at the bighorn sheep. I love it. And the cactus. This is so cool. And then we have that was Angie's, and who we have Monica's. Oh my gosh. She literally added something. Monica, something else. She's something else. Monica, that's awesome. She literally, I said to add something. And she added something. And then she added something else. Maybe that's what the bear told the mountain that made him crack up. Maybe so. She's something. Oh gosh, Monica, that's awesome. So funny. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. Yay. I'm glad you grabbed notebook, but we draw on anything that we can and have it right there. How fun is that? And just even from the beginning to the end, the more how relaxed the mountains are that we get, it loosens us up in doing this. This is just amazing. So awesome. You guys are just the best. Just the best. Now, if anybody wants to send them and we don't get through them tonight, I will. Oh, Gloria's resending images by Gretchen at iCloud. Okay. Oh, good. Yes. Add more too. And this, and then I'll get them again. If you send them again with more stuff, I'll put them all together. Images by Gretchen. That would be a great, you think of the book. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Mine's done already. Sent mine. Ah, look at that. There's Nathan. Nathan. Oh, we're drawing pictures of you. No, we're not. We're teasing. I'm teasing. Oh my gosh. If you go back and listen to this, you can join in on the fun of my scrambled directions that I don't always make sense about. Yes, great. I'm so glad you're here. Anyway, so if you find either any of these books, you guys, if you go to a bookstore or a used bookstore, probably, they are truly, and you can find anything by Jasper. Almost all of his books are out of print except for NIMBY. And they're a wonderful treasure to grab up if you can. You can get them on, I think sometimes on eBay or on Amazon in some places like that. But I found that used bookstores sometimes have them, and it's a great thing to have. And I love how the fact that, you know, the interior is the simple drawing and tells so much of the story with just little tiny pen strokes. But on the front, it has a little bit more that it's like it greets you with this kind of imagination, and then it lets you fill in the blanks inside in your own head. And that's what I think is pretty wonderful about these early books, first couple of books of Jasper's. I always like that when the author illustrator lets me fill in the blanks to some degree myself, because it fits with my imagination. Yeah. So there it is. Okay, everybody. I am going to say this was fun. Thank you for letting me share the book that started it all on the journey. One of them. The other one is Alligator Shoes. I keep forgetting. My goodness, that Mean Hyena was the first one that I did in as a book for Reader's Theater and doing that aspect. But these were my first signed books by the author, and that started a whole nother obsession of collecting a huge collection of books by Northwest authors, and just that whole understanding of them. And I think I'm really thankful for it, because it expanded my whole viewpoint of literature for kids and what it can do, and to look at a whole beautiful another art form. And here I am sharing it with you guys. Yay! So everybody, it's a start to a new glorious week. It's going to be wonderful. I have a special story tomorrow night. It's a quieter kind of story, not as funny like this, but it was done as a Reading Rainbow book. If you remember Reading Rainbow, it has a rhythm to the language that is so important. And rhythm, rhyme, and repetition are the key things that an oral storyteller had, because the rhythm and the rhyme and the repetition is what helps a storyteller and oral traditions help them remember the story enough to be able to tell it again and again. And it also is what embeds it in the listener, who then later on turns around and tells someone else. So tomorrow night's book is all about those three things, and it is illustrated by what we used to call him the ambassador of children's illustration here in the Northwest, Ted Rand. And I'll tell you more about that, though, tomorrow night. Until then, you guys, it, as always, has been a delight to have you here and for you to welcome me into your home. Have a great night, and keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around. You know it's in the mirror, but it's all around you, and share it with someone else. So until next time, let's dance this party out.
In the heat of the night, we could get lost in all the lights and sounds. Feeling alright, we won't go home, we will just stay here downtown. There's not just stars on the boulevard, they're in the light in your eyes. Oh, we don't need no black cards, I just need you by my side. We could be shameless, famous, running cool, with a love that leaves us weightless. Ooh, drop dead gorgeous, wow. Ooh, you got me feeling starstruck too. We could be famous. We could be famous. You're blowing my mind, looking like a model, better than the usual. Yeah, you don't even try, not average or typical. I put you on a